And we're back on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, home of conservative talk radio, with Kevin, with On the Record with Kevin and Tiffany. All right, Dr. Pinkston, can you pick up with that? Because I have this. It's a political view, right? I believe in American exceptionalism, and I always say, if there's a way to figure something out, we're gonna figure it out, right? And
Right.
I want to go back to what you were talking about with the SGLT2 inhibitors and the other, just in terms of all the solutions that we have for kidney disease. Talk a little bit about that as a primary care physician.
You know, primary care physicians have a lot more power than we ever have been given credit for or give ourselves credit for. We are the gatekeepers and we can find things, and we just need to be a lot more open about really digging and looking and staying up to date. Tiffany, you were right. This medication came out a very long time ago, and we didn't know back then that it had such, strong effects on the heart. I mean, these medications, the SGLT2 inhibitors, so that is Farxiga, Jardiance, and Invokana. Even though Invokana hasn't really joined the study crowd, I do think it's a class effect, and it did work for me. So I mention it. But these medications have great effects on bringing blood pressure down a little bit, bringing your blood sugar down. They help people to lose weight. They have great effects on lowering congestive heart failure and heart attacks and strokes. Maybe not strokes, but heart attacks. I think the stroke data will come at one point. And then the kidney data. And so we have known for a very long time that these medicines work. Most insurances, if a doctor will code, for the medication at the pharmacy correctly, most insurances will cover it. If they kick it back the first time, all we have to do is just call the insurance and say, look, they got kidney disease or heart disease. Oh, okay, well, we'll cover it. It's simple. And I don't know, as far as the newer one called Corinthia, this is one that I just learned about really in the last year or two now. And it has been well studied and has an enormous amount of data about improving kidney function, and it will have a lot of improvement for other inflammatory disorders with the heart and all. Dr. Carl Dukes here in town is a great nephrologist. I trained under him, and he taught me a lot about passion, let me tell you. But he, gives a talk on this medication, and we just got to get the word out. People just have to know. There's supplements we can use, as well. Cordyceps and lion's mane are two great supplements. Even something called Alka-Seltzer Gold. And you always need to check with your physician. Don't start any of these things that I suggest if you don't go over this with your physician. You've got medications, you've got a history that I don't know. But Alka-Seltzer Gold is the old plop, plop, fizz, fizz, but it helps to alkalinize the body and to reduce the acidity that goes through the kidneys. I mean, there's just so many things, and it's just so simple. It's just so simple.
Wow. I say this all the time, and we talk about this, that there should be more advocacy for primary care and for the pay models to change so that preventative care is at the top of the list, because they talk about this and say, oh, we want you to do preventative care. Come on, Marianne, we want you to do preventative care at your practice. But we all know that the actual payday for docs doesn't go towards preventative.
No, it goes in your, cardiovascular cath lab, or, nothing against the cardiovascular docs. I'm not bashing anybody, but, these big hospital testing and things like that, that is where the money tends to fall in the specialty line. And in primary care, it does get pushed to the side. When I first got into primary care 23 years ago, I was looked down upon. I can't tell you how many doctors wouldn't even get on the phone with me to talk about a mutual patient because I was a family practitioner. It's different now, thank goodness. But we've really struggled to get to the top of our world to let people know. I do know a lot about a lot. I don't specialize in one area. I know a lot about a lot, and very much an advocate to get people to the right places where they need to go, right there.
Well, we're still...
See, one thing. One thing doctors hardly ever talk to you about is nutrition. You know, and my cholesterol has been high for a long time, long time. The cholesterol been high. So I just totally, you know, I was doing vegan every now and then. You know, every now and then I do it. Since Christmas, no meat, no high cholesterol at all.
Mm-hmm.
When took my cholesterol, I even had numbers to spare because I didn't eat meat for the whole. And now, like I was telling Kevin the other day, that the woman that I had a kidney from wrote a letter to me and said that she's been vegetarian all her life. So for some reason now, I don't even like meat no more. So
it's the kidney.
It's benefiting me, but I don't have high cholesterol anymore because I can't even stand eating. I can't even stand the smell of it now for some reason, unless it's barbecue. I love the way barbecue smells, so that's gonna be my test when I come back to Texas. If I did the cruise, didn't even touch the buffet when it came to the meat part of the meat. So that's how I know that I think I'm over it because, you know, and it helped me out. But doctors never really told me, okay, you got high cholesterol, cut down, you know, on the beef or the, you know, to me, all meat is the same because it's still flesh, you know. So, you know, what if the animal's sick and I'm eating with the animal, you know, I'm eating that sick animal. I might hurt that disease that the animal have, you know.
That's a great point. And if you don't mind, I have kind of a little bit different view and what everybody does on their own, what makes them feel good and works for them, that's fine. No problem. Right. I'll tell you, I lost 171 pounds and straightened up my diabetes and cholesterol eating beef every day. So
I heard you do that. I heard people do that before, yeah.
So I think what happened was back in the late early 90s or so, Oprah Winfrey went after the beef industry. You remember the big trial up in Amarillo and everything. We had a lot of things that occurred during this time too, like the fat is bad, so no saturated fat, no trans fat. So they took fat out of everything, and then they added in the sodium and the carbohydrates. Remember Snackwell's cookies and things like that. So we took all then we were carboholics after that. Then they decided that the world is starving. Remember the people starving in Africa and feed the world and all of that. And this is what happened. They genetically modified food. So the soy, the peanuts, corn, especially, and wheat, they genetically modified it so that American crops could grow out of season. So they could double the crop size, and then they could take the heads of corn and double the size of the corn. So we started eating all these genetically modified foods and we became allergic to them. The next thing that happened then, we grew too much corn. So what did they do? In order to subsidize the farmers, then they started making high fructose corn syrup. So they started putting that into everything. I mean, it is just this onslaught of things that the food industry has done. Like McDonald's started supersizing. Then we started putting everything in a box that's instant and, you know, all these things. The industry, and I always make the joke that the same industry that's trying to save us is the same industry that's trying to kill us. And we are strapped to these horrible foods. So if somebody eats beef, and the way that I do it is I definitely make sure that it's organic grass-fed beef. And just one other thing, if I did it real quickly, when it comes to organic is a purchased label. So if you go into the store and you go to the organic section to buy something, that they only have to meet 70% criteria in order to be organic. There can be a local farmer that grows 100% organic and they can't afford the labeling. So it goes into the regular section of the produce. There are little numbers on the produce, little stickers that they put on the produce that tells you where it came from, how it was grown, and all of those things. Learn the numbers on those stickers and you'll know where your produce comes from, because you can't even count on the organic labeling. So our foods are killing us. It's terrible.
Like the cold, I think he said the numbers that have the 9 at the back, the end of the numbers were like more the organic. You know, I forgot, but he had broke it down. But I tell you, when I eat a bag of Doritos in America, I feel real icky. When I went to Germany and ate a bag of Doritos, I feel totally different.
Yeah.
They don't have the type of preservatives that we have over here in our country. So people go to Europe and eat regular and lose weight.
Absolutely.
Eat like they eat over here, the same foods and lose weight. But you come over here and eat those same foods, oh man, you got problems.
You're right. You are absolutely right.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I know, like, after just eating the way I was eating after my mother passed away, eating for comfort or whatever, because I picked up weight after my mom passed. I picked up like 40 pounds, and I started eating. Previously, I was eating from the outside of the store, and then basically the outside aisles, and I'm back to doing that again. But eating the processed foods, eating Doritos and any of those little things like that, it's like you can't stop eating it. Like they put something in it.
Yeah, they do.
It's crack up in there.
It's true. But what you're saying is true, because the carbohydrates that they use, like the high fructose corn syrup or things like that, the genetically modified wheat, that lights up the same pleasure center in the brain that heroin and cocaine light up. It is an absolute reward system that is built into our foods. I'm telling you, the same ones that are saving us are the ones that are killing us. They have modified foods to make us more addicted, and they do the advertising to draw us in and everything. They know what they are doing, folks. They know.
Heard is no organic corn in existence in America now. All the corn is genetically modified.
Or soy. Soy either.
Yes, soy too, right? Soy, yeah.
More soy.
And in the midst of all of that, right? So just our space is kidney disease, and then and by proxy
diabetes and hypertension,
right?
Yes.
And so a big thing that we often get when we encounter people is asking questions of like, where do I start, right? And I always list on the YouTube channel, I'll list a lot of like the right websites to go to. Like, hey, I'd go to these websites. Don't want to go to, Mama and them's kidney blog. That's not the site you want to go to, right? But we don't have to guess. There are scientifically proven things. There's blood work that you can get that indicates your numbers. You as a doctor, you look at that blood work, you look at EGFR, right? And then the quicker we find a chronic kidney disease or degradation of your kidneys, there is medication out there that you can take, and also along with slight adjustments in lifestyle, right? In California, it's easy for Reggie to be vegan, right? There's one on every other corner. Here in Texas,
I'm not vegan.
Oh my God, it's hard.
I'm not vegan. I'm more vegetarian.
I'm sorry.
I do like my Cajun cheese in there.
But we have to make those adjustments, but it starts with knowledge of knowing your numbers, right? What are the kidney numbers and where should we intervene? Diabetes, blood pressure, right? So diabetes and blood pressure are the number 1 and number 2 causes of chronic kidney disease. And so really being aware of those, and then having recently turned 51, right? Really beginning to be aware of things like uric acid and checking my acid levels and getting them down. So when I sit all day, I'm not stiff, right? I'm watching it. I can't go to town on the ice cream like the kids are doing, and even weaning those guys back. Really just knowing how things like uric acid affects the body, and how things like sugar and Doritos and those things contribute to that levels of uric acid in our bodies. Those are some things that just to know those basic facts and kind of the starting points. Me having said that, you as a doctor, what would you tell people the base level of knowledge they need to know as a jump off point to be aware of what particular blood metrics, et cetera, biometrics? I'm sorry.
I think if staying with the different foundations and the different like the American Diabetes Association and any of the hypertension sites and things like that, I think those can give you some good base information, although I think their numbers are a little bit loose. I tend to be a little bit more unapologetic when I give people numbers to go by, but checking those things are good. There's one side I would like to give you that I think would help in the direction of all the the chemicals that we're exposed to, and like you say, in Europe they don't allow half of what we allow over here. But if you go to ewg.org, that is a great website where you can look up what is in your foods, which are the food companies you can rely on, what the labeling of things, how that works. EWG.org, it's an app and it's a website, and they have a lot of information that you can go by. Also, I tend to send people over to some of my more integrative type websites because they can find out a lot more about natural hormone replacement, for instance, or whatnot. And so the A4M and AHIM, oh my gosh, somebody help me, AHIM, .com and .org. Those are some good sites that will allow you to look through, some of the tighter numbers and more integrative supplement sites and things like that. So I tend to stick to those places.
All right.
I got a quick question, Dr. Pinkston. Are you blood type O? Do you know?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You are?
Yeah. I
know that. I know that.
Because the meat.
Can you flip it back to Dr. C?
Oh, okay, hold on.
Yeah. You know how I know you probably was an O?
No.
So you eat
I thought so. Yeah.
Type O blood types are meat eaters.
Yes.
Type A blood types not supposed to eat meat. They said we don't have the acid in our stomach to break it down. Yeah. So I was reading this book called Eating According to Your Blood Type.
Yes.
That's interesting.
That book came out a long time ago. It was one of the first books that actually came out in regard to guiding people on how to eat according to, different diseases or body types or things like that. And there's still there are some people who do great with it and live by that. They're still kind of on the fence in the study department of whether, they actually could find those things are true. But like you, I hear that all the time. And there are some people who swear by it and do well if they avoid meat because of their blood type or whatnot. And so, I don't think it's anecdotal completely at all. So, yeah, you're right. I knew you were going to say that.
I thought about that. I was like, hey, did you tell? I was thinking, oh, did I?
He just wanted to see my face when he said it.
That's interesting. Fact, yeah.
And you've been listening to On the Record with Kevin and Tiffany on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, home of conservative talk radio.